Shalom, brothers and sisters. I just thought I would share this, sermonette on a Sunday like this, seeing that we're cooked up with the coronavirus. Obviously, we are going through a trying time at this particular juncture in our lives as Christians. But what I want you to see is today, this sermonette, it's all about encouraging you to forge a closer working relationship with God Himself, because I think the coronavirus, the effect of it is going to be less than what's coming after the coronavirus. Economies have been shut down and so forth, so a lot of companies are going under. Here in the UK, we've seen a couple of universities that cannot continue anymore because there's not enough students, for them to open in September. So it is going to be happening everywhere in the world. So it is time to buckle up, to be serious about your Christianity, because I certainly am going to need the help, that invisible hand of Almighty Jehovah. I've titled this message as, I'll just share the screen at the moment, because it's going to be a very difficult time, and you need to find that God of your situation. What does He do? What is He doing in your life? What is it that you want to achieve in this life? How can He be of your help? Remember, the economy of heaven has got all the answers for all the problems that earth has. We'll give you a simple example of Elijah. If you're a Christian, you believe the whole Bible, you don't take some of it and leave some of it. Because Elijah was served sandwiches by crows. I don't know how that can happen, but I believe it to be the truth, because as long as it's within the confines of the Bible, it is the truth. If you're a true Christian, you would believe that. So we're going to talk about the God of your situation in a little sermonette, just to encourage you, just to give you hope, and to encourage you to use your faith to be in a situation where you're rising above all the waves that come your way. Many times when the waves come in like that, they are so big, and some of them, they are white caps. It's like they're going to, overshadow or drown the ship. But because God's hand is holding within the veil, we're going to caress every one of them. So Psalm 46:1, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. So when you are in trouble, because as sure as I'm sitting here and you are listening to this, there is trouble coming through, because the coronavirus has created a situation where economies have shrunk. The GDP of every country has shrunk in such a way that for it to develop from where, remember, it's very easy to destroy than to build. You can destroy a house in 1 hour, but it will take you years probably to build it. So there are trying times coming through. So this is what we need to prepare for, because how can you fight a war without preparation? Yes, sir. Let me just give you an example of what God is doing in your life, in your situation, when you go through the storms of life, when you go through your trials and tribulations. What is God trying to do? He's trying to move you from one place to the other. And the first thing you must remember that God is in control of the timing and intensity of your trials and tribulation. And He never allows them to go beyond His boundaries. I'll tell you right now, the trials and tribulations that you go in have already been measured. They've already been put in a box by God. Because if God were to allow you, like He did for Gehazi, to see how many of the trials of the evil that the devil has sent your way, but he is taken them away from you, He has been your refuge, you will be surprised. You will be a better Christian today. There are many things that happen in our lives that don't happen in our lives because God is our refuge. So He will allow and control the timing and intensity of whatever is you are going through, and it's always within the confines of his boundaries. He will not allow you. That's why the Bible says he will not allow you to be tested beyond what you can take. So if you are in a trial situation, God knows you can take it. And God has got a specific purpose for your suffering. There is a reason, a purpose, plan, and a program that God has. And he has reasons for you to go through all these specific sufferings that we go through. Your suffering will be different from mine. Mine will be different from Moses because it's different dispensation, different people. And the first thing that happens in a trial, God gets all the glory from every trial that you conquer yourself. And remember, it is God in you conquering for the trial. And then God gets the glory. So that means when I receive a trial and I conquer it, it means my partnership with God is that good. It makes me love Him more, and it makes me pray more and thank Him more for what He has done for me. And what does to me as a Christian is it allows the growth of my faith. It's like even in a marriage situation. If you don't trust each other, that marriage is not going to last because trust is built from love. When you love each other, it creates a trust. Even when your husband comes at 3 a.m. in the morning, if he's a man of God, I'm not talking about these guys with small houses. No, that's chaff for hell. I'm talking about your Christian husband. One day in a year, he comes in at 3 a.m. A good wife would not be making noise about that. Because if you have love and trust for that husband or that wife for that matter, you will not make a fuss about that. So that allows your faith to grow in God because of that trial. And it molds, because that is the ultimate purpose, plan, and program of God, to mold a Christ-like character in every Christian. Remember, I'm saying in every Christian, man, woman, children. It is molding the Christ-like character, a character that could say, while he was on the cruel cross of Calvary, he looked down at the soldiers that were, gambling over his garment, and said, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they are doing." We fight too many battles, brother, sister. We need to get to a point where we say, "Lord, you are in charge. You fight this battle. This battle is not mine." Because he said, "You shall go to war, but you shall not fight, for the battle is of the Lord." And also he says in another scripture, "This is not your battle. The Lord shall fight for you. You shall go to war, but you shall not fight, for the Lord shall fight for you." I'm an ever-present help in times of trouble. It is Jesus Christ. The Jehovah of the Old Testament is Jesus Christ of the New. And that's what his job is, to fight for us. And when you have that Christ-like character molding in you, then you become a conqueror. You're able to conquer anything that comes against you. Therefore, there is no weapon that is fashioned against you that shall prosper. There is no enemy out there that can overshadow you. Remember, everything is done within the confines of the boundaries of God. He has allowed the trial, the many trials and tribulations, sufferings that He will not allow or put upon us. And it gives you, at the end of the day, a testimony. So when the devil comes to you and says, "Oh, you're sick," but when you were sick with cancer and you were healed, you can always build from that foundation and say, "Oh, the devil, get out of here, because I had cancer and I was healed. So I don't care. You've given me hard trouble now. It is a trial that God has allowed to me on me so that I can conquer, so I can have another testimony." Because a testimony builds on another testimony. And failure does the same thing. If you fail today, you're going to fail again tomorrow. Unless if you come to Jesus and He will change that kind of situation for you. So you need to have a situation where every day you're looking, what is my testimony today? What have I done today? Not gossiping all the time. You're looking for testimonies. It doesn't matter how small they are, as long as it is a testimony. that's good enough, because you can build on that testimony being the foundation of your life. So it means you're grounded within the word. You see, look at the word and say, this is it, I have arrived. I was talking to somebody last week, and they were talking about the word and saying, oh, some of it is inspired and some of it is not inspired. And I said, well, that's a problem. Because if the whole Bible is not inspired, then we've got a problem. And I told him that that's why we've got so many divorces in the world today. Because sometimes you fall in love with one part of your wife, but not the whole thing, or your husband. You fall in love with the money, but when the money goes, there goes your love. That is not love. That is lust. So the Bible has got to be all right, or it's all wrong. The wife or husband has got to be all right. So the foundation you build your marriage on, between you and Christ, or between you and your husband or wife, determines the final destination of that particular marriage. And that makes you dependent on God, because you know in yourself that I couldn't do it. I couldn't heal cancer. All the doctors and stuff, they'd given up. But then there was that invisible, mighty hand of Jehovah that came in and gave me this testimony that I have. And there is another thing that I want to tell you today. Suffering for his name's sake. This was said by Brother Branham. Suffering for his name's sake is growing pains of his grace. Suffering, I repeat, of his name's sake is growing. So it means you're growing pains. It's like when a child is growing. They are pain, they've got pains all over, because every night they're lying down, they are growing. That's why you don't see them actually growing. I mean, because they are growing, and you can see the result of the growing, but you don't see the growing itself. So the growing pains, so your storm is a growing pain. Because when you are growing, you have to have the pains and aches. A mother who is pregnant has got to have those aches and pains, because that child is growing inside it. And what does the Bible say also? James comes in and says, count it a joy when you fall into diverse temptations. And then Peter says, they are more precious than silver and gold. Yes, sir. Let's have a look at some people in the Bible. Look at Moses. You have the Red Sea right in front of him, 2 mountains on the side, and Pharaoh behind him. Brother, that was some trial. So he had no way of going over that without inviting that invisible hand of mighty Jehovah. So when you are in your trial, remember, he is there with you. He has already tested it. That's why he came in as Jesus Christ in a human body, to test the trials that each and every one of us go through. So there's nothing new under the earth. There's nothing, no trial that you will go through, or I will go through, that Jesus did not go through. Look at Joshua. By inviting the heavenly host, his fighting was reduced to blowing a trumpet and going around the walls of Jericho, and the wall went down. The host of heaven went in and fought the battle. Jonah, right in I don't think any of us are in the situation that Jonah was, in the belly of a whale, in the ocean, brother, sister, but he was able to say, I will look again unto the temple, and he was delivered. David versus Goliath. Why is it at that particular time that David let go of that stone from his, and then that was the same time that Goliath felt a little heat, and then he lifted just a little space of his helmet, and at the same time, the rock was going through. He said, and he fell down. What about John the Revelator, who wrote the revelation of Jesus Christ? On the Isle of Patmos, he was sent there. He lived there for many years, writing the revelations. at the book of Revelations, serpents and all this, it was an old, for some of you that know Alcatraz, it was like Alcatraz of that day. And when Peter was released from jail by an angel, because the brothers and sisters were praying at Mark's house. So what is it that you need today? You need to have your own testimony. And as I said earlier on, your testimony will build upon your testimony, another testimony, another testimony. It means when you see a trial and a tribulation coming towards you, because you have already been through another, that gives you the faith to know that the same God of the mountain is the same God of the valley. So that gives you that impetus to be able to base your faith on nothing but the word of the living God. In these trying times, it's times to buckle up. It's times, who knows, we might get to a point where we have to pray, like our ancestors used to do, go under a tree and pray to the unknown God. We are more educated, we know the God that we are talking about. It's not a myth anymore. So what is it that you are going through that's good, that's molding you to become a truly converted Christian? What is it that you're going through that is molding you into a Christ-like character? God bless you.